What's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Dash. Today I'm gonna be coming at y'all with the plug-in B tutorial. Basically how to make plug-in B beats for like summers, autumn, Fago. They're all fire, bro. Mad underrated. So figured I'd come at y'all with the plug-in B tutorial. This genre is basically kind of like if you took like plug and Mexico drill beats and mixed it with R&B, hence the name plug-in B, and you just like mix them together. That's what like plug-in B beats would be. I have this sample that I cooked up that kind of has plug-in B vibes. So I'm gonna basically break down how I made that sample and then cook up some drums and just show y'all basically the plug-in B sauce. So let's just get straight into it. All right, so here's what the full sample sounds like. Absolute gas. So I'm gonna break down basically how I made that. All right, so the first sound that I pulled up is this Rhodes from Purity. It's called Pretty Suitcase. If you just go to piano, Pretty Suitcase, that's where you can find that. So the way that I basically made these chords is by stacking a minor chord, so D, F, A in this case. And the way that you make a minor chord is by taking a note, skipping 2 notes in between, and then skipping 3 notes in between, and then you got a minor chord. So this is what it would sound like with just the minor chord. So obviously it sounds pretty boring and lame, but once we start stacking voicings, that's when it really starts to sound fire. So then what you want to do is add a 7th. So there's a little bit of a pattern here that you can follow. So you basically skip 2, then skip 3, then skip 2. So that means you would be on the C, you skip 2 notes in between, you get to the C, and then you skip 3 again. So 1, 2, 3, and you get to the E. This is what it sounds like with the 7th and a 9th. Obviously sounds crazy, like way more of a plug vibe. When you stack all those voicings, it really just gives it a whole different vibe. So then what I did was I clicked Alt S on these chords, which basically just strums the notes a little bit. You can play with this time knob to kind of mess with like how much it strums it. Then you can play with the velocity to strum the velocities a little bit too. So here's what it sounds like with the chords strummed. Absolute gas. So basically what I did was I took that chord, copied it over just by clicking shift and then dragging. Then what I used is shift up arrow and I clicked it 5 times. This basically just transposes the chord up 5 times, and it basically just gives you a chord progression. You don't even have to think about the next chord because it just sounds fire. So here's what it sounds like. And then it goes up to the one that we pitched up 5 notes. Obviously it just cut out in the middle of the thing, but y'all get the point. So next thing that I added is these passing notes. Basically these are just to bridge the gap in between the different chords. So all I did was just take a note that was already in the chord, which is C, and then I put a D, which is in the next chord, to use as passing notes so that it has a little bit of like a transition in between them. So it sounds like this. So yeah, that's basically how I made the Rhodes. All right, so the next sound that I added is this bell from Purity. You go into preset, bell and perk, and then bell with harmonics. Shout out to Chambers. Shout out to Chambers. He put me onto this sound. But basically what it is just a bell that like whatever note you play, it like kind of arpeggiates that note out a little bit. So here's what that sounds like. All I did was just take the notes from this Rhodes. So the top one, which is an E, and then top one of this, which is an A, and just literally copy that into the piano roll. That stacked with the Rhodes sounds like this. The bell kind of mixes really nicely with the Rhodes because it kind of just complements, fills in that empty space. So yeah, next sound that I added, which is pretty essential to plug-in B beats, is this lead. I got this lead from Purity. Again, Purity is absolutely goated for these plug-in B melodies because it just has all of those like vintage like Rhodes sounds, synth sounds that you're gonna need, bell sounds. So I got this lead from Purity again. It's called Simple Sign. It's in the lead synth category. So here's what this lead sounds like. Absolute gas. So basically, again, it just follows the top notes of the melody and then kind of deviates from it a little bit. One thing that you can do that sounds super dope, like 90s vibes, is take like the note that you know you want to go to. So like, let's say I know I want to go to this D. You can try both. You can try a half step down and a whole step down and see what sounds right. But you basically put your grid into 1/3 step and basically make it last 2 ticks. I don't know what like the mathematical term for that is, but it'll make it to where it kind of gives a little bit of like a You know what I'm saying? Like it kind of like really quickly goes into, I think it's called like a grace note. I'm not really sure, but it makes it sound way more fire than just if I was to just play, you know what I'm saying? It sounds way more fire when you have that note trailing into it that sounds like this. Way more fire. So that layered with the bell and the Rhodes sounds like this. Fire. All right, so the next sound that I pulled up is another lead. It's in lead synth again. It's called Smooth Lead. This one has a lot more of like a smooth feel, as you can tell from the title. Basically, with this one, I went a lot more simple and just again followed the notes that are in the chords. Like if you look, this D, F, E, C. Literally, if you look at these chords on the Rhodes, you got a D in the first chord, E in the second chord, F, C, A. Like all the notes that I use are in these chords. So you basically just mix those notes up and just make them sound more interesting. So this is what that lead sounds like. Yeah, pretty gas. So that I basically just layered underneath everything, and this is what everything together sounds like. So yeah, pretty gas. So now I'll just go ahead and take y'all over the effects I put. The effects are super simple. I really didn't do that much at all, but yeah. So for the Rhodes, all I added was a little bit of an EQ to cut out the low ends just to make some more room for the 808. Yeah, I added this to the bells too, and the lead, and this lead too. So for the Rhodes, that's all I did. And then I used this stereo separation knob here a little bit just to separate it in your headphones more, separate it from the rest of the mix. Then with these bells, same thing, just added a low cut and separated the stereo a little bit more. With this lead, what I did is I added that same EQ, but I also cut out some of the high end. Next lead, all I added was a another EQ. Just cut out some of the highs, cut out some of the lows. Cutting out the highs is cool for when you're like a melody sounds too harsh and you kind of want it to be more background ambient. So yeah, that's kind of what I did here. I just cut out the highs to make it more sit in the background more. So yeah, that's basically all I did to make the melody. Oh, I also used these stereo separation knobs. So these I made super wide, and then these ones I made a little bit more narrow, just so that the whole melody kind of blends together nicely and they all kind of play their own parts. So as you can tell with plug and B melodies, there's a lot of stacking. You want to kind of, rather than just trying to play everything out in one instrument, you want to add a bunch of different instruments and have them all complement each other and take up different frequencies and like spaces in your headphones. So with all that said, I'm about to cook up some drums on top of this, so let's get into it. So I have some sounds pulled up from my drum kit, just a little bit of a 808, 2 hi-hats, a clap, a snare, a chant, and an open hi-hat. I'm gonna add this clap. Actually, it's a snap. Snaps are fire for plug and B beats because they just aren't as harsh. I'm gonna add this crash on the one. I'm gonna add a little bit, I'm gonna add like a roll at the end of the hi-hats. Honestly, I feel like it could be cool if we pitched up the melody like 100 cents, maybe sped the beat up a little bit too. That's hard, so I think it's time for the 808. Turn the velocity up. And then go. Oh, last thing that I forgot to mention, when you're making plug beats, you gotta make a ton of like random sound effects and stuff. So I'm gonna grab, I got this fire sound effect from this kit the other day. This one's fire, so like I might try that. That's fire, bro. Maybe even add some ice in the beginning, bro. In fact, that could be hard. That's fire. So I'm gonna go ahead and arrange that out and then I'll be right back. I just arranged out the beat. It's absolute gas, bro. I love the plug and B wave, bro. I've just been listening to a ton of like autumn, ton of summers, like they're both fire. I listen to a lot of the type beats, like plug and B type beats on YouTube. You already know I couldn't just steal the swag, bro. I had to give it to y'all, you know what I'm saying? I had to pass on the swag. So hopefully this video is helpful. Let me know if you liked it down in the comments. Let me know what you want to see next, because I'm low-key running out of ideas. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So make sure you subscribe, turn on the notifications so you can get like notified every time I upload. I hit that like if you liked, hit the dislike if you disliked. But yeah, so that's really all I have to say. I'm gonna play the full beat. See y'all in the next one. Peace.